Welcome to The Explainer. So today, we're not just talking about sad breakup songs and tubs of ice cream. We are digging into the actual science of heartbreak. We're going to explore what's really going on inside your brain and your body when a relationship ends.
You know that feeling, right? It's so much more than just being sad. And while your friends might tell you to just get over it, this quote right here, it gets to the heart of it. Your body is screaming at you that you are under a genuine physical threat. And that really brings us to the big question we're tackling today. Is a broken heart just a phrase we use, a metaphor? Or can it actually be diagnosed like a real illness? We're going to look at the science and find out. So first up, let's get one thing straight. The pain of heartbreak is not just in your head, not at all. It is a genuine, physical experience. I mean, do any of these sound familiar? That heavy, crushing ache in your chest. The nausea, not being able to eat, not being able to sleep. And then there's this weird one, what some researchers call digital hallucinations, where your brain just plays this involuntary movie of your best memories over and over. These aren't just feelings. They are real physiological responses to a massive biological event. So why does it hurt so incredibly much? Well, the answer is hiding in a very specific part of your brain that has let's call it an interesting glitch. Let's take a closer look. All right, so meet the villain of our story, the somatosensory cortex. This is the part of your brain that processes physical sensations. You know, when you get a paper cut or burn your hand on the stove, this is the area that lights up and says, ouch. But here's the wild part. It does the exact same thing when you experience social rejection. To put it as simply as possible, brain scans show us that whether you stub your toe really hard or you get your heart broken, the very same neural pathways fire up. Your brain literally does not know the difference between physical pain and the pain of being rejected.
So you're probably asking, why on earth are we wired this way? Well, it's actually a super old survival mechanism. For our ancestors, being cast out from the tribe was basically a death sentence. So evolution was clever. It co-opted the physical pain alarm system to warn us whenever our social connections were in jeopardy. In that sense, it's not a bug, it's a feature.
But the pain isn't just about some confused wiring in your brain. It's also about chemistry. The reason heartbreak feels exactly like an addict going through withdrawal is because, on a chemical level, that is precisely what is happening. See, when you're in a happy relationship, your brain is just bathing in this incredible feel-good cocktail that it makes all by itself. It's a powerful mix of hormones that creates feelings of safety, of reward, and deep attachment. Your brain gets used to this steady supply. In fact, it gets addicted to it. And a key ingredient in that potent cocktail is oxytocin. You've probably heard it called the bonding hormone or the cuddle hormone. This little molecule is what creates that feeling of deep, safe connection you have with a partner. And your brain learns to crave it. Then the breakup happens and your entire neurochemical world gets turned completely upside down. The supply of oxytocin and dopamine, that's your reward chemical, just plummets. And to make everything so much worse, your system is flooded with the stress hormone cortisol. This is the exact chemical recipe for withdrawal, and it's why it's so hard to focus or feel any pleasure in anything. Now, this intense chemical crash doesn't just stay in the brain. The stress response that it triggers can have a direct and sometimes pretty dangerous physical impact on the heart itself.
And this brings us to the most extreme clinical example, Takotsubo Cardiomyopathy, which is actually known in medicine as broken heart syndrome. And let me be perfectly clear, this is not a metaphor. It is a temporary but very real condition where the heart muscle gets stunned and weakened by severe emotional stress.
The name itself is fascinating. A takotsubo is a kind of pot with a wide base and a narrow neck that Japanese fishermen use to trap octopuses. And what doctors discovered is that under the extreme stress of heartbreak, the left ventricle of the human heart can actually balloon out and take on this exact shape.
So how does this chain reaction even happen? First, there's the intense emotional trauma. That triggers a massive surge of adrenaline. This flood of hormones can be so overwhelming that it literally stuns the heart muscle. The left ventricle stops contracting properly and just balloons out, changing its shape. It's so severe that patients often end up in the ER with symptoms that look exactly like a heart attack.
And the impact doesn't stop with your heart. Your brain is also sending these constant crisis signals down the vagus nerve all the way to your gut. This kicks in your fight or flight response, and it shuts down anything it considers non-essential, like digestion, because your body thinks you're in immediate danger. That's the biological reason for that hollow, sick feeling in your stomach and why you lose your appetite. Okay, so if heartbreak is a real physical injury, it stands to reason that it requires a real recovery plan. But how do you actually treat it? First off, let's just bust this huge myth that time heals all wounds. It doesn't, not by itself. If you spend that time just reinforcing old thought patterns, rereading old texts, you're just resetting the clock on your withdrawal. True healing has to be an active process of intentionally rewiring your brain. So that means you need an active plan. Step 1, treat this like the physical injury it is. You wouldn't run a marathon on a broken leg, right? Give your body permission to rest and recover. Step 2, reframe your cravings. That intense urge to text your ex, that's a biological withdrawal symptom. Instead of giving in, get a natural oxytocin hit from going for a run or calling a friend. And finally, you can manually reset your gut with some deep, diaphragmatic breathing. This calms that vagus nerve and basically sends a message to your body that the emergency is over. This leaves us with a final and I think really crucial question. If we know that heartbreak is a biological emergency, a real physical event happening in our brain and body, how should that change the way we treat ourselves and each other during the healing process? This isn't about being dramatic. It's about giving a legitimate wound the care and respect it actually deserves.